Hey, Oncers, it's Minx, and just finished watching the 2 hour special tonight. Um, there's some super exciting parts, some crazy ass twists, and some stuff that's kind of as usual. So, if you haven't watched it yet, don't watch this video. It was a 2 hour special tonight. I don't know how they're going to be putting it up on Watch ABC. I don't know if they're going to keep it together, if they're actually going to separate it into episodes. Because technically, it was pretty much episode 8 and 9 together. Um, with that said, let's go because there's a shit ton of stuff to cover, and I don't want to make this a boringly long video. First half, we finally get to know what Emma's motivation is. What the hell happened? Hook finally gets through to her. He finally finds out the truth, and I got the answer to my question from last review when I was asking, is Merlin still attached to the sword? And if he is, you know, how does that work now that the pieces of the sword are joined again? And if he's not, how did that get off him? Well, we find out he is not, because Emma attached Hook to the sword because he was dying and she was desperate and didn't want to lose him like she lost Neil. I hate it. Now, don't get me wrong, it was very well done. The twist, it was a twist I never saw coming. It was freaking amazing. It is great storytelling. I just hate it because my top OTP is Emma and Hook, and now shit's gonna get nasty. And I don't know how I'm gonna feel. The show every season gives me a huge kick in the feels, and I can feel another one coming. Um, I get her desperation. I get her desperation after losing Neil and watching him die in her arms while she's crying, after having just gotten him back, she like everyone she feels like everyone she touches just, dies. You know, I get that. I get that desperation. I totally do. But when he's laying there in her arms and she transports him to that field where they had that magical moment, and he's laying there and she's like, "No, I'm going to do this." And he's like, "Don't." He goes, "No, no, no, don't." He goes, "I've already been dark. I've already been there. I've been, I've already succumbed to that before." That's him telling you, don't do it because I can't fight it off. I'll go straight up evil. Well, bitch does it anyway. So now we get to look forward to a Reign of Terror from Hook, which I'm not looking forward to because honestly, I liked his reformed hero status. Like, I liked that. I liked the fact that this show turns everything on its ear. People who should be heroes aren't necessarily heroes. People who should be villains kind of have a redemption arc. They have a chance to be heroes, which I really like. I really appreciate that part of the show, and I'm not excited to see Hook become bad again. And not just bad, but like the ultimate bad, like Dark One bad. Because technically they are both the Dark One now. It fucking sucks, and I hate it. Um, with that said, we got to see Dr. Whale, aka Victor Frankenstein, come back with a horrible, horrible hairdo. He does not look with bleach blonde hair. It's just really awkward. I could see blonder hair, but not like bleach blonde. It looked really awkward. So I kind of appreciated the looks and comments that were happening during the Zelena birthing scene. We saw a lot of Zelena across the two parts of the episode, so it was like Jesus. Um, and I want to make this clear: the actress plays Zelena so incredibly well. She just goes all the way. She goes 100% every time. She plays her so well that I cannot stand the character. And that's a good thing. People might be like, "Oh my god, you're not going to act her." No, I'm not. She plays it so well that I cannot stand the character. It's like Jack Gleason, his portrayal of Joffrey in Game of Thrones. He played it so well, everyone hated that character because he just made it so despicable. She has done the same thing with Zelena. I hate her. Love the actress, hate the character. Um, so there's that. We see a lot of her. Thought it was an interesting twist slash plot device that Emma sped up her pregnancy. Um, and then the twist was, that she didn't need the baby, she needed Zelina to be a host. Um, so there's that. I thought that was a potentially good plan, by the way, and I knew it wasn't going to go through the minute she revealed what was going to happen, but I think it was actually a pretty good plan. Um, with that said, I was kind of disappointed that she actually. I'll have to admit, I was kind of disappointed that she actually had a normal kid. Like, part of me was like, even though people are gonna be like, "Oh my God, it's Robin's baby too," I get that. And don't get me wrong, I like Robin Hood. He's cool. He is with Regina, who is like my all-time favorite character. But I still think it would have been funny had the baby come out a different color, or if it had come out like a monkey baby. Like they could have brought in a poo. I mean, come on. I just think it would have been freaking hilarious. That her wickedness just completely went to the kid. Plus the fact it wouldn't change how Robin felt about the kid. Because he's like all about the kids. He's all about his kids. So I mean, I don't think that would have changed that. And honestly, I don't think it really would have changed Regina either. I think she would have blamed um, Zelina and been like, look what your wicked heart has done. Um, so I don't know. I just think it would have been funny. People will probably disagree with me, but whatever. So that was a cool twist. Oh God, Killian, poor Killian. Second half, we got to see a shit ton of Merida, which actually I think this was probably Actually, I'd say this is probably the strongest Merida sequences that we've had the entire season so far. As I've said in my past reviews, I didn't like how forceful they were with a lot of the brave elements. Now, granted, they were forceful again with a couple of things, squeezing it in there, and I feel like their visual portrayals are a little too close to the movie. I think that's one of my biggest issues. Um, but these were some of the best, most genuine feeling scenes, I think, with involving that character. Like, and don't get me wrong, the actress playing Merida is actually playing Merida very well. It's just the way they have things written, I think, is what's killing me a little bit. Um, but we did that. I finally got Mulan back! Finally got Mulan back. We finally get Ruby back. So excited for that. Oh my god. Squee! Um, because I was wondering where the hell Ruby's been. Because we've had Granny the whole time. So it was cool getting to find out what happened to her. Their epic adventure, I liked that Merida finally got the whole, you know, got the rest of her courage kind of way. Without having to say, brave, 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 without having to shove the actual name of the movie in. So that was cool. Didn't really care for the actress they picked to play her mother. Um, that was kind of. I felt a little off to me. I'm not sure if it was just there was a couple points where she lost the accent. I think that might have been it. Um, I think for me, if you're doing the accents, it's really big to actually keep them and maintain them. I have a lot of hard time following movies where characters are supposed to have accents, and they have it, and then like random points in the movie they just drop out. It bothers me. There were a couple points where I could hear it drop off, and sometimes it was pretty subtle, but it's one of the things I pay attention to the most. Um, and there's times where you can totally tell that some of the accents are just really forced. Um, Granted, I gotta give props to Robert Carlyle, who plays Gold, because he's actually very Scottish. He is absolutely Scottish, and you wouldn't be able to tell on the show because of how he clears up his voice. But his natural brogue is just a beautiful thing. Um, with that said, yeah, we finally got to see Mulan, and that Mulan has kind of become a shakedown artist and a thug, um, because she lost her way after, pretty much losing out on Aurora. And we end up finding Ruby, and hello, her and Ruby are going to start off on a magical quest to find more werewolves. And I'm just sitting here going, wow, I wonder who Milan's gonna have a romance with. Because obviously it's not Merida. They totally have like the best friend connection, like the Broham collection connection. But wonder who she's gonna have a romance with. Because they have actually, the creators have actually revealed. And if this is a shock to you, I'm honestly surprised, and you've been in denial since Mulan's been on the show. Um, they've already said they're gonna be having Mulan explore an LGBT relationship, and I applaud it. I think it's great. I think the fact that they want their world that they're portraying in the show to reflect uh, bits and bobs and pieces of the world at large, where we live. So I think that's really awesome. Um, so yeah, it looks like her and Ruby are headed on the road to romance. God, is that enough R's? So that's pretty cool. The fact that Mulan's totally down with the fact that Ruby's a wolf is pretty neat, and she saw past that. Um, so that was neat. I like the fact that she ended up being Merida's original teacher with Acts of Warfare. Um, I'm still not sold on her dad's facial hair. I don't know, something about the way the mustache just, some of the forcefulness, like the witch in the cottage, they brought it back again. They revisited that cottage like 4 times in this episode. Um, the way they did that lady's hair, Jesus, it looked just like the characters from the movie. My only issue is I think is what it is that they're forcing everything to look spot on from the movie, and they shouldn't. They should do it as an interpretation as what it would be in this setting. I mean, Regina was supposed to be the evil queen. Very rarely did she actually look like the queen from the original animated feature. I mean, and the closest that was when she had one of those funky headdresses on with the little, widow's peak in the front. That's not really that close. Snow White really truly didn't look like Snow White from the movies. I mean, Prince Charming kinda did, but then again, all those, princes usually look pretty generic. You know? I mean, yeah, bits and parts they look the same, but they didn't have to go as far as they did with the Brave stuff. Um, with trying to just force everything in there. I mean, shoot, they even made his peg leg look like the peg leg from the movie. They didn't have to go that far. I would have accepted it without it being that far. Actually, it probably would have gotten a better reception for me had it not gone that far. Um, line of the episode, there was a lot of great lines. I think the ones that stuck with me most, there was one from Regina and one from Hook, and they were both in the first half. But I think Hook's ultimately wins, because I'm gonna miss old Hook. Um, is when he gets cut on his neck, which I also have a problem with, but I'm not gonna get into it. I'm over it. And she's like, "Oh God, you have a scratch or whatever," and he's like, "Oh, I've had worse when I've scratched my nose with the wrong hand." Frickin' hilarious. I loved that. It's very witty. Close second was Regina, and no one gets to kill. Is it, no one gets to hurt my sister but me, or something like that. Um, is a very sibling thing to say. All in all, I feel like I should give each half a grade because they really were pretty much episode 8 and 9 as opposed to one long episode. So for the first one, for all the twists and turns, I'm going to give it a solid A. Not an A minus, not an A plus, but a solid A. And it's the first one I've given it a solid A. Because that it was just amazing. It was great. Um, so that was good. Um, second one, I would give a solid A minus. Simply because again they went a little bit too far with the exact replication of Brave features, like the 3 clan kids, the witch's, updo. Even her mom's hair and general look was the same. Um, they lose a little bit for that. But all in all, it was actually probably the most genuine scenes we've gotten from Merida. And I also liked how she snapped back at Mulan and was like, when Mulan's like, "You can't give up," she goes, "Why not? You have." Mm. So yeah, first half I'd give a solid A. Second half I'd give a solid A minus. I think it was probably one of the strongest sets of episodes we've seen so far. So, looking forward to the next one, so we can actually get into, Dark Hook. But anyway, with that said, look forward to a podcast coming up soon with me and a couple of my once friends, getting in talking about everything Once Upon a Time. And other than that, I'll see you in the next review. Later, oncers.